back to Third Take. It's been a while. Like what?
What, the last mock draft? I mean, we uploaded shit over the summer.
On TikTok, yeah.
Yes.
But it's been a while since we've been back, and what do you know? We're
back for draft season.
We're back for draft season. 2024, first mock draft of the year. Hopefully we get 3 in this year. It's going to be a little tougher to do it this year. What do you want to call it?
I'll take tails.
All right, tails. I need the Patriots. It's tails.
I'm taking 2. I have a pick I want to make later on.
All right, he has 2. Okay.
I have a pick I want to make later on for the even, so I'm going to give you the Pats pick.
All right.
Because you're not going to do it, and I want to do it.
And
so.
I'm leading off first overall.
Yeah, you're going.
Okay, starting off number 1 overall, you have the Chicago Bears again. Carolina, sorry.
It's been a rough year.
It's been a rough year. You don't even get a good draft pick this year. You get like 33 or whatever.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Number 1 overall, a lot of options you could go with here. You could go with Caleb. You could go with Marvin Harrison, Drake May. It kind of depends on how you see Justin Fields. Do you think he's done enough? Do you think he hasn't done enough? And I'm on the boat that he hasn't shown enough in his 3 years yet, and I'm going to reset your salary, and I'm taking quarterback. But I'm going to go with someone I don't think you guys expect me to go here at 1, Drake May. Drake May is pretty much what I saw with Justin Herbert at Oregon. He has an amazing arm. He's a good pocket presence. He moves in and out very well. He's mobile. I think a lot of people don't realize how mobile he is. He's not quite like Josh Allen, but he's pretty close to Josh Allen mobility-wise. Arm angles are amazing. He's good, comfortable rolling out. The thing is with him and Caleb is I've heard in structure and out of structure. Caleb, from what I watched, he does not work well in structure that much. While Drake May, he can work out of structure really, really well.
And in structure.
Yeah, and in structure, yeah. So, he's a football player. He can take a hit. Like I said, he kind of has Josh Allen syndrome where he maybe runs and should slide but doesn't. Throw off back foot a couple times, which you don't like to see. Patriots fans, you have flashbacks to that.
It's bad.
In my opinion, he's really good. It's between him and Caleb. It was close, but Drake, in my opinion, is just not a safer option, but I think he's less. I mean, people say Caleb is, some blue chip guy, which I don't think he really is. I love his accuracy, although it can be inconsistent at times. He'll have some games where he'll start off, like 6 to 18, I think he did, like against Clemson. But then he'll get back on it, and he'll throw a dart to Tez Walker, like down the field. So his deep ball accuracy can get a little bit more consistent. He takes sacks that you don't like to see. He'll hold on to the ball for too long instead of like darting it or just throwing it out of bounds. So you don't love to see that. But overall, I think that Drake May is just the best quarterback in this draft. I think he works very well in structure, better than Caleb could fucking ever hope to. And then he's very good out of pocket. Not as good as Caleb, but out of structure he works just fine. Like you're loving what he does out of structure. So taking Drake May first overall, a lot of people aren't going to like that. But now we're on to number 2 with Washington.
All right, number 2. Wish it was the Pats, but we got Washington on the clock. And I'm going Caleb Williams here. I like Caleb. I definitely have some problems with him. I also have Drake at my 1 right now. Me personally, though, I'm sticking with Justin Fields. Although I do everything Joe just said made sense. I'll start off with the negatives with Caleb. And I try and stay away from the character stuff. It was a big thing, if any of you guys remember, a couple years ago with Kayvon Thibodeau when all his character stuff popped up. I try to stay away from it because I don't know these people. But I worry about Caleb's mentality a lot, about, crying to mom in the stands. What are we doing there? And I just, they swear he's a good leader inside USC. I don't know about that. I'm not sure if I want my quarterback to paint his nails either. But as far as on the field, and also his ego is ridiculous too, from what it seems like. I want to own an NFL team.
Yep, ownership.
Yeah, just shut up, please. But as far as on the field, like Joe said earlier when we were comparing them, crazy out of structure. I mean, there's not really any, like, Mahomey style, but, like, there's no other way to say it as far as it's the closest thing you're going to get to Mahomes out of structure and creating stuff for his teammates. But what comes with that is holding the ball for just an absurd amount of time and taking way too many sacks. He missed a lot more throws than I thought he was going to. That was my first watch. I was like, why can't he hit a slant? Why can't he hit an out route? Like, what's going on here? This is the blue chip generational talent. I couldn't see it, but he's very mobile, which I love. Like I said, it's just the missed throws in the intermediate and short game, which you can totally clean up, and you can't get. It's kind of like Deshaun Watson, where when he used to hold the ball forever, and Russell Wilson and those guys, you can't get the electric plays without some of the negatives and the sacks. So that's a trade-off that you're just going to have to take. But he's an absolute weapon. He could be insane with his mentality and just really not being that good in structure. I could also kind of see him busting, so I'm a little like 50-50 on him. But the ceiling's too high, and Washington's too much of a dumpster fire to not take the risk on Caleb.
At number 3, it's our New England Patriots. Boy, has this been a
really
hell
good,
of a
guys.
season for us. Can't say it can get worse. It can. It absolutely can. But, yeah, if there's a quarterback here, I'd love to take one. Jaden Daniels is a little high for me, especially with, in my opinion, the generational wide receiver talent that's on the board. I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. and I'm fixing this fucking receiving core. I'm getting some hope of life into it, and hopefully, I know you'll find out later that we're not huge fans of Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy, but
No.
you know, get one of them maybe in like the second or third round, just so we don't have to.
The JJ
watch,
I can do. Get Bo Nix away from my team.
Just so we don't have to deal with Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones for an offseason. I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Nuts body control, huge catch radius. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. He's the perfect like wide receiver, X-receiver archetype. He's an amazing route runner. He's great hands. He switches up his releases really well. Hand fighting with DBs, amazing. He's good after the catch. I think he has around 4.4 speed is what I saw.
It's probably around that.
In my opinion, he's probably the best receiver since Jalen Waddle since I watched in college. So Jalen Waddle was my one over Jamar. But that is very close. Probably the best since Jalen Waddle I've watched. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. It doesn't really matter. He run blocks really well. He stock blocks amazing, which is a big thing for me when I look at a receiver. If I see you showing no effort and it's to your side, I'm automatically going to not like you because that's just block for a second. It's a DB, weighs 190 pounds. Like, you can block for a little bit and give your guy a hole. But his route tree is like just, I don't even think it's complete yet. I mean, he's unbelievable. He can run a slant. He can run a fade. His route tree is like complete almost. Like, it's amazing. The comp I saw, and I think a lot of other people are seeing, is just prime AJ Green right out the gate. So like,
that's what I wrote. Yeah.
So like I think overall that he's the only generational player in this draft, in my opinion. And the Patriots need some fucking life on that offense. Jesus Christ. It's bad. We'll see how we do against the Jets. We could move up to 2 in the next month. This could be Drake May, Caleb Williams.
Or we also could be like 5. We'll see.
Or we could be 5, and this pick could not matter. But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. Please
pick a good offensive player.
I just want a good offensive player. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to put life into this offense. He's going to be an amazing wide receiver day one. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is the pick here.
All right, for Arizona, I did like a pre-mock to this just to get my final thoughts in order. I had Malik Neighbors to this to the Cardinals for like ever since they've been at pick 4, and then I thought about it, and then I looked up the Cardinals' edge depth chart, and now I'm going edge because that like their receiver room I think is fine. I think if you get a guy in round 2, I feel good about that room with Hollywood, Michael Wilson, your second-round receiver, Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch. Believe me, could you use Malik Neighbors here? 100%. He's a stud. But I'm going to go with Jared Verse from FSU because I think edge is just a bigger need because they're playing Zaven Collins as like a hybrid outside linebacker, which is fine. That's a good role for him. But I want him to do that as the third edge rusher and be like a super weapon that they can move around the defense. And if you take Jared Verse, you can do that, and you can have him and BJ Ojolari on the edge, which is a fire duo. Yeah, Jared Verse, the reason why he's my edge one over some of these other guys who are unbelievable is he can win with both power and speed. He's a big-time power rusher. He has a crazy bull rush. He can rip, swim, all of that. It's outside swim, inside swim. It doesn't really matter with him. And he can win with speed. Lachu's the cross-chop guy, but I've seen Jared Verse pull off a couple of those. He's great in run D. He's disciplined on the edge. Nobody runs after the ball like he does. His motor and hustle is awesome, which you love to see. He's got violent hands. He's really good at just batting guys' hands away and hand fighting. Fights to the ball consistently. Like I said, he's got the speed and power. He has a great long arm. He combos his speed into power well, extends the arm, finishes the pressure or the sack. Jared Verse is a stud. He's going to be top 5 on my board. He might end up slipping because not that many teams really need edge rusher in this range outside of the Cardinals, so you might see him going at like 10, but he's going to be super high on my board, and I think Jared Verse is a stud.
New York Giants are here at 5. I see a lot of people calling for Jaden Daniels. Personally, I don't think he's a top 5 player. Maybe he'll grow on me at the Combine, Pro Day.
Not the Pro Day rise. Not the Zach Wilson rise.
Maybe he'll grow on me a little bit more. I don't see him as a top 5 guy, especially to the Giants. Like, Patriots, I could definitely see it because you need some energy in that offense. The Giants, you still locked up with Daniel Jones. You have an out after next year. But I think you're just a little more locked into QB than some of these other teams like the Patriots. So here, I'm going to try to make Daniel Jones work as much as possible. And I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors out of LSU. He's not far off from Marvin Harrison Jr. It's really close. For a good amount of time early on, I was considering putting Neighbors at my 1. He's a big-time deep ball threat. I'm pretty sure against, Mississippi State, he scored like 3 touchdowns on just fade routes.
Yeah, that was the first game I watched of him.
So he's great after the catch, too. He's shifty. He plays bigger than 6 foot. I mean, he's 200 pounds, so he's basically the same weight as Marvin Harrison Jr., but 4 inches shorter. So he's a little bulky boy. He's a good route runner. He has great body control. He finds the gaps in zones and just sits in them, and you like JSN finding a soft spot. Diverse route tree. It's almost near impossible to guard him on a fade. In my opinion, his jump ball is very good for being 6 foot. I think he's up there with some of the best in college football. In my opinion, he should have been the Biletnikoff winner.
Dude, that was a robbery.
Yeah.
Marv is better, but his season wasn't better. That was crazy.
This kid's always open. He goes up and gets it. I mean, he has very soft, good hands, which means he's not going to brick a ball off his hands. He didn't make Jaden Daniels, but he made his Heisman season a whole lot easier thrown to him. I mean, he was electric for LSU this year. Malik Neighbors, I think you're getting an instant playmaker here in New York. So I'm taking Malik Neighbors at 5.
All right, 6 for the Chargers. I'm kind of throwing positional value out the window here.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going Brock Bowers. I mean, he's the best tight end. I'd say he's better than Kyle Pitts.
Since Pitts, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's better. He's more of a complete player, so I would say
a versatile weapon like Kyle Pitts.
But he is a versatile weapon because he can block. But Brock Bowers is sick. I think we all know how good he is. We've been hearing about him for, 3 years, something like that.
Yep.
From Georgia, obviously, 6'4", 240. Pretty good blocker. You can play him at tight end, H-back. You can put him in the slot if you want to. He's versatile. He's a versatile weapon that way. You can even put him outside, which Georgia does sometimes. Really good hands, great route runner, huge threat over the middle and in the seam. He's fast, really good after the catch, tough to bring down. He's got a very good route tree because you can line him up anywhere. He does a lot of different stuff, whether it's deep, short, intermediate. He's good at sitting down in zones too, like your classic tight end. He's got a stiff arm. He's got some shiftiness to him after the catch. And Brock Bowers is just a stud. He's more than a tight end, and that's why I'm taking him at 6.
Okay, at number 7, I'm doing everything to protect my sweet Prince Will Levis. I mean,
right.
he's gonna die back there. He won't make it to 25, and he's 24 right now. so he's in a lot of trouble.
It's rough.
And I'm gonna get an amazing tackle. I'm going with Joe Alt. He turns and seal guys really well. Ton of pancakes. He's eating them boys. He's really good and powerful in the run game. He's a great blocker. He has a great nasty streak to him. Just pancakes guys up the field. That's what you love to see. Good job staying low. He has good base. His stance and anchor is unbelievable. It's almost perfect.
It's beautiful.
It's quite a sight there. It's like Niagara Falls when you first see it.
Yeah, exactly.
He has
it's like a nice sunset.
Yeah.
Joe Alt's anchor. Yeah.
He has a good sunset on the beach.
Yeah.
He switches up his pass sets well. He's very patient when engaging. He's not gonna lunge at you. He's gonna let you come to him basically and say, you have to beat me. I don't have to beat you. But he got bull rushed a couple times, so you worry about that. But a handful of reps and however many snaps he played in those games, like, you're okay with that. But overall, I think he's your fix to taking a guard at 11 last year. This is going to be a meaningful pick for Tennessee. I know back-to-back years taking a lineman when you have Traylon Burks as your one is not fun.
They have D-Hop.
Oh, D-Hop. I forgot about him.
He has 1,000 yards this year. He's playing well.
I know. He kind of started off sucky,
No,
but he's really turned it on. But I know running around with Traylon Burks is like your young, promising receiver is not ideal. Derrick Henry getting older. Maybe you wanted a flashier pick like a Rome. But I think Joe Alt will help Tajay Spears and Derrick Henry, if you have him, open up holes. He'll keep Will Levis off his ass because I do think he's the franchise quarterback there. He's shown you enough, especially, guys, remember, he was a raw quarterback prospect. Like, he's doing about what I hoped he would do his rookie year. So you need to protect him. Joe Alt is the answer. He's your key code for that. So, Joe Alt, I'm going to let Martin talk more about him because he's in love with him.
This is my boy, dude. Yeah, I mean, you guys, we all know that I'm the O-line guy, and I also claim Notre Dame as my team this year because I'm 80% Irish or something, so go Irish. But yeah, Joe Alt, he's unbelievable. I literally in my notes, there are no negatives, so you're not going to hear me say any. But yeah, like Joe said, he's tough. He's perfect anchor. Stance is beautiful. He literally doesn't lose. In the notes there that Joe read that says bull rush, when I say bull rush, I mean like he ended up like close to the quarterback. Like that was it. Like he didn't even no pressure, no sack, no nothing. I saw him lose like 2 reps. He's a beast in run blocking. He seals well. He could play in a zone run game or gap. It doesn't really matter. Joe Alt's sick. He'll give you he's a pick your dad would love. He'll give you a blue collar beat down. He's a monster. I love him for that, and he's a hell of a player. I understand we need a quarterback and receiver, and I do not want this pick to happen, but if the Pats did take him, I'm not going to be mad about it because I love Joe Alt, and I think he's a Pro Bowl tackle probably year 3, year 2, and he's going to start off good. He has a super high floor. I have no issues with anything in his game, so yeah. All right, you got the Jets here at 8, and I'm going back-to-back tackle here because you got to protect Aaron Rodgers and make sure that what happened this year does not happen again so that you can actually have hope past week 1 next year. And I'm going with J.C. Latham. You probably expected Olu, but J.C. Latham's my tackle too. Also, Mekhi Becton can play both sides, and you're really looking for... I don't really care that much about like what side you played in college, but JC did play right tackle, and you need a right tackle, so that works out well. He's the Dawad Jones mold, and that was my one last year. You guys heard me talk about him endlessly. He's 6'6", 360, big boy who is explosive off the line. He's got good footwork. He's a very good run blocker. As you would imagine, being that big, he's not really that good in space. You probably don't want this guy in his own run game. He's a gap scheme guy, but he does well in that. He's got a really good anchor. If you watch J.C. Latham, the thing I love is basically every rep looks the same. He pretty much just does his pass set, moves his feet well, gets his hands inside, grabs you, and then you kind of just stand there for 3 seconds because once he grabs you with that grip strength, you're not going anywhere. So and stance is perfect. Everything's the same. The only problem that I really have with J.C. Latham is just he lost a couple speed rushes. And when I say a couple, I literally mean like 2. And for the most part, he is really good at getting to the outside and just kind of readjusting his hands to make sure the speed rush doesn't get by him. J.C. Latham's a stud. He's an easy top 10 player for me. And I think he's very good, and the Jets got a good tackle here.
Desmond Ridder might have the IQ of a first-floor kid. He's horrible.
Rubber rim?
He's so bad. Taylor Heineke's a nice go-out-and-play-for-him type quarterback, but you need a QB. I'm going Jaden Daniels here. Listen, like I said, he's not a top 3 guy in my opinion, just because I think the wide receivers that I take over him, I think are better wide receivers than Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback, if that makes sense to people. He's super mobile and super athletic. He's literally Lamar Jackson when you watch him. Beautiful deep ball. He's patient. He's fine throwing under pressure. There's definitely improvements that you can make. He plays well in structure, which I think some people might have underestimated from him. He's got a good arm on him. LSU's run game, from what I saw, especially in the Bama game, was almost non-existent except for when he ran out. It was kind of like Bama's running game against Michigan, where it's non-existent except for the quarterback. Same thing with most of these guys this year, maybe except for Penix. Holds onto the ball for too long, but like Martin said with Caleb Williams, you take the good with the bad. That's how you get these athletic plays from these guys, how you get these highlight plays. But it's not as bad as Caleb with the ball. Caleb will hold the ball for 10 seconds. I'm not even kidding.
It's like 9.
It's egregious. Rushing quarterback-wise, I can't think of a better one since Lamar. Because Fields, I feel like...
Fields didn't do that in college.
No.
Like, we found... Like, he was good at it. But, like, Fields being an 1,100-yard rusher or whatever it was, like, we did not expect that.
He's a very good decision-maker. You want to see him maybe take a little bit more checkdowns instead of holding on to it and looking for Neighbors or Bryant, which is a pretty good game plan. Just wait for Neighbors to get open.
Throw it up to him.
But overall, I think Jaden Daniels has earned his spot in the top 10. And like I said, he's close to being in that top 5 for me. He's not quite there yet. He could definitely grow on me. But Jaden Daniels here, I think you're getting a very good quarterback. You're not getting some raw prospect that has so much work to do, like a Richardson or a Levis. You're getting a day one. He's a good quarterback. With sky's the limit for him with the running ability. So Jaden Daniels, you're going to Atlanta, and hopefully you don't get Arthur Smith, but hopefully you can make that Falcons team good again. All
right, pick 10. We got the Bears here, and I'm gonna get Drake May some help, and I'm gonna go Rome Odunze here. He's sick. Like, wide receiver 3 is like an insult to Rome Odunze. Like, we have 3 receivers going in the top 10. This class is sick, and round 2 is awesome too. Any of these guys are 1 in probably every year. Like, I would take Jamar over Rome, but that's probably like it. I know you would take Waddle over him, but like, yeah, but Rome's 6'3", 215. Very good separator, really good route runner. He's got good hands, wins 50-50 balls consistently. He's a legit deep threat. He's got good ball skills, great hands. If you press him, it doesn't really do anything. He kind of just beats it.
He's so gross.
Great route tree. He can switch up his releases. He's not, like, unreal after the catch, but he is solid. Like, Neighbors and Harrison are better after the catch, and I think that's why they get the edge over him. Because as far as a route runner, he's not, like, that much worse, or he's not much worse than them, and hands-wise, he's great, too. The only reason he's here is because he's in a class with 2 even
close
better
to
receivers.
Generational wide receivers.
So the fact that Rome's here at 10 is the Bears are kind of just counting their lucky stars, and you're just going to take him, and you get a receiver room of him and DJ Moore with, like, Mooney in the slot or something. You still have Tyler Scott in there as well, like, and Cole Kmet. Like, that's a good offense for May to succeed with. So I think this is a great pick, and I think this is about as good as you can ask for if you are going to go the Drake May route or even Caleb route at number 1.
Okay, Raiders on the board at 11. There's an outside shot that Penix goes here in the actual draft. He's risen so much for a lot of people.
Was a good playoff game, though.
Really,
Very good
430
game.
yards, but those type of throws, you love to see it. But I think the Raiders, it's not a must need. I think you could run it back with AOC. Maybe Jimmy, if I don't even know. But I
the
think
point is there's other holes on the roster.
There's
other
much
than
bigger holes than quarterback. Mostly on the defense. I think you could go D-line here. I'm personally going to go cornerback, and I'm going to go Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Oh, that's not what. Okay.
Listen, when I tell you that I was getting very irritated watching this guy, because I wouldn't fucking see him half the time. I wouldn't see him.
Dude, the camera would cut out because it would be a fade, and then he would just go up.
He's the type of guy where, honestly, you could throw him on an island and forget about it. Like, he's going to lock the guy up. It's almost like Sauce Gardner. I would say Sauce is a little bit better out of college. But he plays off well. He looks good in man and zone. I think he's a really good press coverage guy. Tackling effort's definitely questionable. But I think that's a syndrome of basically any cornerback now, because after we watched Devon Witherspoon last year, every single person's going to be let down because that guy was a fucking missile.
All the other corners I watched, tried tackling. He just sat there.
He's too good. He's a great bump and run guy. He doesn't get beat and he doesn't let up separation. He stays hip to hip. He's really good hip to hip.
It's kind of all you want in a corner. Don't get beat and stay there.
He's 6'1", too, which is ideal corner height because, I guess ideal would be 6'4", but that means you can't catch because you get your ass at receiver if you're 6'4". Tariq Woolen, I'm looking at you. But you want your corner outside, ideal height's 6'2". He's 6'1", 194. Flips his hips amazingly. Like I said, I think this kid he's very, very good. I think he's a safe pick, but he could be a top 5 corner. Year 1, he could have a Sauce type year, and it really wouldn't surprise me. But overall, I think Kool-Aid, he can be your fix in the secondary. I know you got Nate Hobbs. That's about it.
Yeah.
So Kool-Aid fixes a hole there. You get plug and play, day 1 starter. Really, you like to see guys develop, but he could play. He doesn't need to develop, is my point. I think he's pretty much pro ready to go, and it helps fix your secondary immensely.
All right, pick 12, we have the Vikings. That's who it is. And I'm going to take my second-ranked edge here. I'm going to take Braylon Trice from Washington. Little earlier, I have him much higher than some other people do, but I think he's a stud. 6'4", 273. This is a big edge rusher. He can play 4-3. He can play outside backer too, stand up. He's good at both. He had a really good game against Texas, so he probably is on some people's radar now because of that. But he's really good at timing the snap. He gets some crazy jumps. He's a big-time power rusher. His bull rush is terrifying. It's so good. He gets doubled consistently, which is something that I love to see. He's got a good spin. He never stops working his hands. I like Trice because he's not the speed rusher that Jared Verse is, but he is like Jared Verse where he can win with both. His bend isn't crazy, but he has enough bend to win around the edge, and he's great with his hands. So between ripping, outside swim, all that stuff, he has enough juice to get to the outside, and he can go right through you with his bull rush or his long arm, and that's the quickest way to the QB is right through the tackle. He's got a nice cross chop as well, which is one of the most advanced pass rush moves you can do. So whenever there's a guy in college that's doing it, you know that they are legit talented and have been well coached as well. Very good run defender, just big. That's it. Just cut out the rest of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Braylon Trice is a stud, and I think he's an awesome player here at 12.
Okay, at 13, you have the New Orleans Saints on the clock. You might not be able to sign this guy because you are supposed to be $90 million in cap hell. Again, I thought we had this situation back in 2020 where you guys were like $120 million or some wild number. But I'm going to get a guy who, in my opinion, is just going to... He is solid now and has potential to be a top 5 edge rusher in the NFL. Give me Latea Latu. I hope I'm saying the name right.
That sounds right. I thought you were going to butcher that a lot worse than that. I'm not going to lie. That was solid.
He had to medically retire, so concerns there.
Yeah, that was bad.
But when I say this guy's like Jalen Phillips, maybe it's because he had to medically retire.
And he wears number 15.
And he went to UCLA.
Yeah.
He's solid in the run D, and he sets a very good edge. This guy has every move in the bag you could want. He's got a cross drop. He's got a swim. He's got a dip under. He's got so many moves deep in this bag. Now, I get why Martin put Braylon Trice. He's better in run defense, Trice's, than Latu. But Latu's my edge, too.
He has the power element, too.
Yeah.
Which Latu doesn't really have. Still love him,
Yeah.
though. He's a beast.
Has great inside counter moves off a speed rush. Like Martin said, doesn't have a lot of power to his game. But he rushes with a plan and, like, sets up future moves if one doesn't work out. Like, he's gross, technically.
Oh,
with,
yeah, dude.
I mean, when I watched him, I was in awe. I mean, he's quick, too. This guy, I think he's going to be a stud edge for years to come. He's a 3-4 outside backer and a stand-up edge. He's also got a good spin move to add on to it. So, like, I think you're drafting this guy hoping he becomes, like, a 15, 16 sack type guy in the NFL. So, Latu has all his love for me. He's one of my guys. I'm in love with Latu. When I saw him hit that cross chop, I was in love with him. So, Latu's going to the Saints. I'll also name... Listen, Cam Jordan, he's getting up there in age. So
Peyton Turner's a bust. They need edge
They
help.
need edge help desperately. So, Latu's going to be your answer, and he's going to be amazing for years to come.
Okay. 14 Denver Broncos. I literally just thought of this, and they do, like, need this position, but this is great. I'm going to pair up my CB2. I'm going to pair up the two white corners. Give me Cooper DeJean and to be a slot monster, or outside corner, too, honestly. Don't put him at safety. He's too good in coverage to be safety. I know he's white, but so he might have to play safety, but I think he should play corner. The hilarious part about Cooper DeJean is he is legitimately an elite athlete. Like, I mean, I know, believe me, he's from Iowa. I know it's the state of Iowa, and, like, there's a lot of white guys in Iowa, so the jumping's a little rough, but he has the state long jump and 100-meter dash records, which is hilarious and also insanely impressive. He's also his high school's all-time points leader in basketball and receiving and passing touchdown.
What the fuck?
He was an unbelievable. I did a little bit of research because I was like, this is so funny.
Wait, hold on. Passing touchdowns.
And receiving.
And receiving.
Yes. And he played varsity baseball. He's a 4-sport athlete in high school. He ran track and played baseball at the same time.
He owns every fucking record in the state of Iowa.
Yes.
He's their fucking king.
He's Mr. Iowa.
Jesus Christ.
And you know he's a great kid.
Yeah, pairing him up with the cracker bag.
We have the two cracker bags. But as far as his football abilities, very good in press, good enough. Like I said, he can play in the slot and outside equally as well. I think he's probably best off in the slot just because of how good of a tackler he is. He's very, like, other than, I mean, probably second behind Devon Witherspoon. He's not the hitter that Witherspoon is, but if we're just talking about, like, hey, get him on the ground, he does that better than anybody except him. He also returns punts, because why wouldn't he at this point? And then very good ball skills. He can play bump and run, good in man or zone. The only really problem I had with him was just, like, they played him super far off a lot, and he let up some, like, 5-yard hitches and stuff, and that showed off his tackling ability, which was helpful for his film. But if you just don't play him, like, 7 yards off, he won't allow that catch. And he closes on balls well, too. Cooper DeJean, as funny as it is a very good player and should go very highly in this draft. And we love him for it because he's putting on for the fellas at a position that we have not seen the fellas play at in quite a long
for the
time.
all-white team.
Yeah.
Okay, Seattle at 15. Could go with, weirdly, like, a good amount of options here. I feel like you could go, I mean, if you really, really wanted to, you could go, like, Graham Barton, I think, right? The Duke guard / tackle.
I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched him yet, so no comment.
But he's a guard, by the way. His arms are really short. So, yeah. But I'm going to go edge rusher here, and I'm going to go Dallas Turner. I'm not going to lie, when I first watched this guy, I thought he was super overrated because he wasn't on the fucking field for Tennessee. He didn't play. I had to look up. I was like, did he have, like, issues, like, character issues? That did he get, like, suspended? No, I guess. And then I was like, oh, great. He's just another Lucas Van Ness. But then, over time...
He's good.
No, he's very good. Over time, though, watching maybe the LSU game on offense 5 times.
I think I've seen that game.
Amount of
I think
times.
I've seen that game 8 times in total, like between both
And
sides.
Dallas Turner made so many great plays. He's a good and disciplined run defender. He plays well outside the point of attack. Has very good bend and is a good outside rusher. He's almost like Braylon Trice, but just slightly worse at everything. I would feel like because he's very good in both.
Just
run
not
game and
not
pass
as
rushing.
big though.
No, he's not as big. He's 6'4", 251. He uses
Still a big
hands
boy.
well. Yeah, he's still a big boy. Uses hands well and bats away tacklers' hands. He's solid in coverage if you really want to use him. He does. I'm not saying have him go man on man with your slot receiver, but you need him to guard the running back for a check down.
Joe Barry's gonna draft him.
Oh yeah, and he's
That's
gonna
my slot corner.
He's gonna misuse the fuck out of him. Yeah. Who did the fuck did he have?
It was Preston Smith.
Preston Smith, that's right.
This is the Packers' new slot corner. It's Dallas Turner.
He wins with hustle. He sometimes just wills his way into the backfield, which I love. He wins with his... doesn't work the first time. Doesn't work the second time. But he'll get there. He will get there with his third move. Overall, I think he's very good. I don't think he's an exceptionally great on these other levels like Latu, Trice, or Verse. I think he's that tier 2 guy. He could definitely jump up for me at a combine with like Trayvon Walker if he shows freak athleticism, but I just don't think that's going to happen. But overall, I think Seattle needs run defense help. They traded for Leonard Williams, so they're trying to work on it, but it can't hurt to add a great edge like Dallas Turner is, and hopefully this fixes your edge problem for the foreseeable future.
All right, 16 Bengals on the clock. And I've never made this pick before because he's never actually been here in any mock that I've ever done. I usually take him top 10. But I'm taking Talise Fuega from Oregon State. This guy's a monster. 6'6", 333. He's the best run blocker in the class. I don't really think it's close.
No,
either.
I don't think it is
Joe
either.
Alt's unbelievable at run blocking, but
just run to his side. He's dominant.
You talk about Highway 75, dude.
Yeah.
Just get behind there and keep going. But bodies dudes on every play. He seals well. He's good at getting to the second level. He gets pushed back kind of consistently on power rushes and pass protection. That's literally the only problem I have with him. And that's why J.C. Latham is higher. Because I like Fuego way more as a run blocker than Latham. But we all know it's a passing league and pass protection is more important. So... I'm not worried about it. There's someone else's anchor we'll get to that's a lot more shakier than Fuega's is, and I feel good about his anchor overall. It's just at the end of the rep, it's why are you that close to the quarterback? You know what I mean? He held up for 4 or 5 seconds or whatever. It's a solid rep, but I'm can you just be a couple steps in front, and then I'll be feeling real good about that rep.
Don't be in his lap.
Yeah, but He didn't allow any sacks. Like I said, gives up a little more ground than I want. Just the anchor, you got to improve a little bit. He's explosive off the line. He moves well in space. He has really good hand placement. They're always inside. He was laid off the ball a couple times, but that's no big deal for me. Really good job against stunts. Washes guys to the outside well against speed rushes, as you would imagine. He's good about just getting out there. He's got long arms. He can just wash them to the outside. This punch is violent, as you would imagine. It's like he's boxing out there. They feel that one. And one thing that I look forward to in tackles, and especially with the scheme Oregon State was running, it was against a lot of 3-4 man rushes. There's not really anyone for the tackle to block. So when I'm looking at that, I want to see you go look for work. And some of the hits that he delivered, D tackles here, there's nobody on him. He goes over and just kills the D tackle on a low-key a blindside hit, but we love the dog mentality there. But it's not Trevor Penning. He's not a dirty player. He's just very physical. But yeah, Fuega's a beast, and the only reason he's my tackle 3 is because JC is a little bit better in pass pro, and this tackle class is very, very good. So yeah.
Okay, at 17 we have the Arizona Cardinals picking again, and here you're going to go defense again. I think that offense is good enough right now to work. I mean, James Conner had a hell of a game. I think Hollywood's a good enough one for right now. You could draft another guy. I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, 6'2", 185. He's the athlete of the draft. I mean, people,
It's DeJean,
the woke
dude.
media will tell you it's Nate Wiggins, but it's really Cooper DeJean.
That's right.
He's an off-cover guy who can turn and run. He flips his hips really well and moves really fluidly. He gives up a little bit more separation than Kool-Aid, but is still pretty good. He does get mossed a little bit, and that's just because he doesn't get his head around, which is, I think, he needs to do, because there are multiple plays where, fuck, man, like come on. Just if you turned your head and jumped, it would have been a PBU. He's a willing tackler, does a pretty solid job shedding blocks. He can press really well. Gets beat over the middle a couple times. I watched Tez Walker.
They had a battle.
They had a very good little battle going. So it was about an even draw, I would say. Tez had 4 receptions for 70 yards. Not all of them were on Wiggins.
He had a couple on Wiggins, but he had a pretty good game from what I remember.
He's fast and he closes on the ball really well. He's also, you can tell this guy watches films. He reads the quarterback's eyes. He's really good. Him being CB3 is kind of a crime. I think he's very good. I think overall he could be in my top 15 players by April. So Nate Wiggins here. Get your lockdown CB1, because I forget. Keitrell Clark, he's had his flashes, but he's also had his down moments. If I remember right.
I've seen a lot of good things from him in the slot. I don't really know what his stats are. I was looking at their depth chart today because I was trying to figure out. But they need a CB1. Their CB1's Antonio Hamilton.
Yeah, need to fix that.
But if you get him, Garrett Williams is there too.
Yeah.
Who could be good. Keitrell Clark in the slot. That's a nice young secondary. That's a very nice
secondary there. So Nate Wiggins, 17 to Arizona.
Okay, we got the Steelers at 18. And just like I gave the Broncos the Iowa corner duo, we're going to give them the Georgia tackle duo. And I'm going to pair Amarius Mims and Broderick Jones back together. We're going to move Broderick Jones over to left. He's been playing right tackle this year. We're going to move him back to left where he played in college. But Amarius Mims, I think, is better than Broderick Jones probably. He's a tough player. He could... I don't know if he's going to get up my tackle rankings by the draft because he hasn't played that many snaps because of injuries.
The funny thing is he's been at Georgia for 3 years. He's played less snaps than Fuega's played this season.
Yeah, which is why. It's just injuries. And, I mean... He didn't
start until last year.
No, and today something I did which is funny is I never watched like the year before tape. Like I'll see some tape from the guys, but like he's only played 730 snaps or whatever. So I watched the playoff run games today just to get an even better feel. And I already really liked Mims, but I just wanted to see as much tape as I could. But I'm a big fan of Amarius Mims. I just don't know if he'll ever get above Fuega and Latham because I think they're kind of just like better versions of him. They're all a similar mold. They're all big boys. He's 6'7", 340. The thing I like the most about Amarius Mims is I think he has the best get-off out of anybody in this offensive tackle class. If you watch him just get off the ball, it's unbelievable how quick it is consistently. His punch is violent. He can neutralize pass rushers with that. Like Broderick Jones, he's kind of a lunger. He did that 4 or 5 times. It's just his hands get over his feet when he's run blocking, and sometimes he's a little over-aggressive in pass protection. He lunges. You can fix that easily, but it is something to note. He's a good run blocker. He's probably a gap guy. Long arms. Good job washing guys to the outside once again. He has pretty good feet. Really good job against stunts. The funny thing about him is his bull rush. People only tried to bull rush him like 2 times in the game I saw. Really good anchor. Between limited snaps and nobody even tried to bull rush him. So I'm kind of just projecting that his bull rush is good since nobody tried it. Mm-hmm. I feel like that makes some sense. Or actually, that's not totally true because in the playoff games I was watching, some guys tried it and he did a good job with it. But I think Amarius Mims is really good. He does a good job getting to the second level. Very good run blocker. The only thing is beat inside a couple times I saw. You just got to move the feet quicker to the inside, and he was just setting up too far to the outside, which most of the time it is a speed rush, so it's kind of a fair thing to bank on that, but you just got to be quick reacting with your hands. I think he does a good job readjusting. It's just inexperience with him, really, and it kind of sucks just because it's been injury, but it's just when you don't see that much of a guy, like, you play less football, of course you're going to be not as technically polished as the top three, but in every snap I've seen of him, I do think he is technically sound. I think he has good hands. I think he's better than Broderick Jones, to be honest, and I think he's going to be a good player, and you pair them up together again. I like the sound of that.
Okay, at 19, Green Bay, a weird team because if I remember right, around a month and a half, 2 months ago, there was a Brett Coleman video I watched where it was top 5 worst teams in the NFL, and Green Bay was on it.
Well, they're so young, dude. That's the thing, is they have so many guys where it's like they are developing, so it's like we're not going to give up on them yet. They're in year 1, year 2, like we're going to, and they've been developing this year, so it's a weird team
So
to
yeah,
draft
no, and then of course, Green Bay being Green Bay, final game of the season, you're going to be in the playoff race. They have a chance to go to the playoffs here. Right now they're at pick 19. I think they're on the outside looking in as of
They're the 7th seed as of
right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But here,
19 is the first playoff team pick.
My thing here with Green Bay is I think you could do a lot of things, but also do you want, like, it's a very weird pick to be in. I feel like you could almost go any position.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of their needs,
I think this is just going to be best player available.
Yeah, Joe, I think a lot of their needs, too, are, like, stuff you can get later, and stuff you probably shouldn't take in the first round, like a slot corner or like a nose tackle. You could probably use another edge. You could maybe use like a swing tackle. Like, none of those things are probably going to be a first round pick.
Like, if you want to get real frisky here, you could go like a Jordan Morgan or a Patrick Paul or a Tyler Guyton, but I think that's just too high for them.
No, I don't think they need tackle either. Rasheed Walker's played really well. Or Zach Tom's been a beast, and Rasheed Walker has progressed well. So I don't even think they need a tackle.
So here, I'm just going to go BPA, and I'm going to go Johnny Newton out of Illinois, 6'2", 295. Quick slippery pass rusher from the interior. I mean, I think they misused him a little bit. I think you just got to move him from a 5 to a 3. He has great hand fighting. Uses his hands very well. Good effort player. He would try his best. You know, he's a defensive lineman. You're not going to see him run down a guy down the field, but
he was trying to on some of those. He wasn't going to make it, but don't tell him that because he thought he was going to chase him down.
He has a really good swim move. He has a good rip. He's solid against the run. I'd like to see him improve just a tad bit against the run, because I think there are some plays where he just gets blown up and there's just a massive gap right where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, you're drafting him for his pass rush from the interior, though. He's a totally fine run defender, but...
Yeah, no, he gets washed by doubles and needs to anchor better in the run game. He didn't do much when he was doubled, so you do kind of worry about that a little bit. I think it's a hard way to explain him, because I think he can get better in both significantly, and he could be an absolute just beast.
Yeah, but he's good right now, and like I like the idea of that because it's like they already have Kenny Clark and the Devontae Wyatt. Mm-hmm. They don't need him to be, and Carl Brooks too. They don't need him to be Superman. They just need him to be like a good part of that. He'll be a starter there, but they just need him to be good. They don't need him to be insane.
He's got violent hands. He's got a good bull rush as well when he decides to use it, and they can use him on stunts because he's a very good athlete too. From what I saw, his jump was pretty nice. He's just an all-around really good athlete. Not the athlete that like Jalen Carter was, because no one is the athlete.
Yeah.
But I think he's overall a very good athlete for his size, and I think giving him Green Bay, like you said, you don't need him to be Jalen Carter. You need him to just be Johnny Newton. So Green Bay, tough pick because I think you could go a lot of spots here. I could see this being a huge trade down spot for them. If there's a receiver, or like Penix is still on the board, if a team wants to come up and get him, this could definitely be the pick to do it at. So yeah, Johnny Newton though to the Packers.
At 20 for the Bucks, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers with this one because Olu hasn't been picked yet, but I'm gonna take Patrick Paul from Houston. I watched him 2 days ago. I really like what I saw. He's 6'7", 315. He's got 36-inch arms. Arms are down to his knees. No, it's crazy. He has elite length. He has quick feet too. He's got a good base. Fine timing off the snap. He's no Amarius Mims there. So Patrick Paul, he has really good hug tech. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it's what it sounds like. It's just when you get your arms around, and it's kind of just a hug. Like your arms might be on the back of their pads. It's not technically a hold, but boy, does he have some reps that you could argue is a hold. It is hug tech though, and he does a good job at it. But like, if you don't know what it is, you would see that and you would be like, this guy holds every play. What are we doing? Why aren't we calling it? But it works for him, and I didn't see him get called once, so I'm good with it. It's fine. He with that though, he uses outside hands too much. I want to see him get those inside the pads more. He does readjust them well later in the rep though. He's very good in pass pro. I saw a graphic. I think I've talked about this on camera before, but I'm not like the PFF grades guy, but when it's really high, you're doing something right. And his was like a 95 in pass protection, which is insane.
It's like 2019, like Trent Williams.
No, that's what I'm saying, that is insane. So as you can tell from that, really good in pass protection. He's got a good anchor against power. As you would imagine, he can just wash guys to the outside with those long arms. And just long arms are important because if it's easier to win consistently if your arms are always on theirs first. And Patrick Paul is basically always going to have a length advantage against anyone he's up against. And someone who doesn't have a length advantage is their right tackle right now, Luke Gadecki. You slide him into guard, you put Patrick Paul at right tackle with Wirfs, and that's a hell of a duo. His punch is legit. He plays through the whistle. He's tough. Good zone scheme blocker. He doesn't blow you away in the run game, but he's fine. He's kind of like Darnell Wright, where he played in a weird offense. Houston was a lot of RPOs, so he's going to have to learn like a real NFL zone run scheme. But he did well in what he was asked to do, so I feel comfortable kind of projecting his run blocking over to the NFL. And he used trap tech a few times, which is something that I love to see because I'm a big fan of that. And I think he could put a little weight on. That's my only other thing is 6'7", 315. That's like usually when you see, especially with arm length like that, like usually those guys are like 330 plus, but he carries it well and he anchors well enough where I don't think you need to, but you probably could put a little weight on if you wanted to.
Okay, Indianapolis on the board at 21 here. For me, this was kind of an easy pick. You kind of only have Julius Brents, and that's it. I'm going to go...
Well, who else plays corner for them? I don't know.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Tyrion Arnold. I hope I'm saying that right. 6 foot, 196. He's a slot corner, but Brent's is... What's his height again?
He's like 6'4".
Yeah, he's fucking massive.
He can play some outside too, but ideally Arnold would
He's
be
a slot corner who can also play outside. He's a solid tackler who helps in run support. We like that. Mm-hmm. We love that. I think he's a great blitzer because they send him on corner blitz a lot, and he didn't get stopped the 2 times I think I saw him in one game. So he's a very good blitzer. Which you like to see them change it up a little bit. Alabama has confidence in sending him off the edge. He's the best. He's plays the best in press, but he plays more off, which is a little weird. But that's probably more of a scheme thing for Bama. Yeah. So I'm sure he'll be fine. He lets up too much underneath stuff, and it's a good thing and a bad thing because he doesn't bite at all on double moves, but that'll also cause a slant or a curl to be wide open for like 5 yards. So you could see some third down stuff in the NFL where it's 3rd and short, and it's like, oh shit, are they gonna run a sluggo? Oh no, it's a regular slant.
Yeah,
and it's
then you
open.
let up the 6-yard curl or whatever.
Yeah, so that's my big concern with him is he just lets up. He gives a lot of space, but he won't get beat on a double move because the fucker doesn't bite. He's like a football player playing basketball. He's not falling for my jab step. Shit.
Yeah.
So he's very good in that. He's good bump and run. He moves really well, and he is good fluid, and he flips his hips really well. Overall, I think he's just a very good slot corner that can play outside. He could be your gadget guy too, setting him on blitzes and stuff. But Tyrion Arnold, I like him here. Mid first round pick. I really like him to Indianapolis.
All right, 22, we got the Jags on the clock. This was a tough pick because, like I was just telling Joe, I take Terrion Arnold all the time for the Jags, but he just got picked. So I'm going to take JT Tuimalau from Ohio State. And this is like, I mean, obviously they have Josh Allen, they have Trayvon Walker, but Trayvon Walker is a guy that plays edge and interior. So what I'm kind of picturing here is a third down package with all of them on the field at once. So I like, and JT can be the third edge on some plays. You can start him if an injury happens, or you can just move Walker inside and tell him to put on some more weight like he did at Georgia. He played at 290 and played lots of interior. But JT's 6'4", 270, good consistent 4-3 end. He's just a very solid player, very disciplined in run D, good long arm and power. He's a power rusher through and through. He beat Joe Alt twice in that game, which is more than most rushers can say. It's not much, but this is another thing of you'll see him later in the video, Olu, but he owned Olu and he didn't do anything against Joe Alt. So I think that is really what kind of settled that argument for me. But JT kind of gets bodied when doubled, which I mean it's fair enough, especially when you're getting down blocked by a guard and you're an end. It's kind of fair enough, but not ideal. He shows a lot of flashes of having a speed rush, but he's kind of just a bull rush guy right now. He basically just has a rip and swim off his bull, and that's it. It's like a 2-pitch reliever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's a good pitch, like it works, but
he is a
can we
nasty slider and a fastball.
Yeah. It's like he's got his bull rush and he's got the rip off that, and that's kind of it. And it works well enough, but I need him to add a few more clubs to the bag, and then I think he'll be very good. He does a good job of one thing me and you were talking about, of him tackling the running back every time. Or it was the quarterback or the running back?
The running back.
Yeah,
even when he didn't have the ball.
He tackled the running back every time, even if he didn't have the ball, which we just thought was funny. That was just a scheme thing. I'm sure like his coach was like, hey, just kill the running back every time. But where his long arm really shined was against Olu. Like, that's really what made him a first-round pick for me, is when you take a guy as talented as him and you just throw him back into the quarterback multiple times. You beat him with speed, which, I mean, JT isn't even that good of a speed rusher, and he beat him with speed. So that's kind of where some concerns come in with Olu. But JT is a good player. I think he fits the description of just, like, very solid first round edge rusher, like mid-20s area. Yeah. Just good player.
Hey, LA's on the board at pick 23 here, and you needed a 3, but also Aaron Donald could retire any day at this point. It's
whenever he wants to. He's kind of done everything at this point.
Kind of when he feels like it, he's going to do it. I mean, you've been hearing about this since early 2022. Yeah. About rumors of, I mean, that was like the Super Bowl.
It was literally after they won the Super Bowl.
No.
Oh, it was before?
It was the pregame show of the Super Bowl. Yeah. They were like, I think it was like Rodney Harris like, yeah, I just talked to Sean McVay. He said it's going to be Aaron Donald's last game, guys.
It was like, yeah. What was crazy, too, was McVay was like, yeah, I might retire, too. And then it was like, dude, you're like 38.
And then we were like,
as a coach.
And then you look up Aaron Donald's age, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's not as young as I thought he was. By the way, all of that leading up just to taking Leonard Taylor out of Miami, 6'3", 304. I think they use him wrong because last year his stats were so much better than this year. This year he has 3 total tackles and 1 sack.
No, he had like 30. He had 3 tackles?
3.
I thought it was like 30.
3.
He had 3?
He has 3.
I don't think that's true.
I'm so dead serious.
Look that up. I don't think that's
like
true.
Almost like 9.
I'm pretty sure it's like 30.
He has 8. I'm telling you.
He's good though. But
I'm sorry. He has 8 tackles. It must have been 3. The game I was watching.
Yeah,
when they mentioned it.
Wait,
but I was right.
The game I watched, I think he had 3 or 4 tackles, so that means he did like nothing the rest of the season.
Once again, why they're misusing
the
him?
3 games
and he was great last year. He was I'm pretty sure he had 8.5 sacks last year, something like that.
Yeah, they played him at nose quite a lot.
So he's super athletic and explosive for his size. He's a nose tackle that can play 3 tech as well. He's a good run stuffer, sheds blocks, and can 2 gap. He has a unbelievably disgusting swim move.
Yeah.
It's gross. He's very good at just making a pile and just kind of making the trenches messy for the running back. Violent punch. He's constantly double teamed. He doesn't offer much as a pass rusher right now, but he has that upside too. Can crush the pocket with a bull rush. So if he's one-on-one, he has he's good at everything he does, but he does not have a lot. He has a rip, a swim.
It's like JT.
And a bull.
Yeah,
but he's very good at all of those.
No, it was like when he got doubled, shut down, nothing. You leave him one-on-one, that pocket is done. Yeah. That's why, yeah.
And then if he can't get there, he tries to get his hands up and bat the ball down, so you like to see that. But overall, Leonard Taylor, I think, has just been horribly misused this year. Who was the guy last year that was horribly misused?
Will McDonald.
Different
edge, but yeah. That was the dumbest thing ever. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, coach. Oh, what's that? You want to let's play our 235-pound edge rusher at 5 technique. That's Big 12 football right there.
Yeah, so I think Leonard Taylor here, late 20 or early 20s, late first round pick is worth it for him.
All right, 24 for the Bills. I'm going to go back-to-back D tackles after Joe's, and I'm going to take T'Vondre Sweat from Texas. I think he's a beast, 6'4", 362, big boy, big nose tackle. Daquan Jones is kind of all they have as far as nose tackles, and he's like 33 now. So he's played well this year, but I think there's a pretty good chance that they're going to move off him pretty soon here, and the decline is coming. But T'Vondre Sweat, as you would imagine, is a great run defender. He sheds blocks really well. He can two-gap. He's got great hand usage. He's got a good bull rush. He's a pocket crusher, as you would imagine, being that big. He's always working his hands, always trying to rip. He's got a nice swim. He batted down a couple passes, too, which you love to see, especially from your nose tackle who's getting doubled and might not get there. If you can get the hands up and bat the ball down, that's big for the team. He's got a quick get-off, and he's very athletic for his size. Really nice long arm. The reason why he's an easy first-round pick, in my opinion, despite being a nose tackle, is because he does offer stuff as a pass rusher. He has a great bull rush, really good long arm. It's kind of like with Gervon Dexter, I talked about him last year, of he's a nose tackle and he's a great run defender, but because he's so good with his hands and he's super athletic, he's a good pass rusher. Like he's not going to put up crazy sack numbers, but he will get you pressures and he will affect the quarterback. And he's not going to be Dexter Lawrence, but he's going to be good. And as far as nose tackle pass rushers go, he's going to be one of the better ones in the NFL. And that it's such a rare thing to have a nose that can legitimately rush the passer, and he's one of them, and that makes him extremely valuable, and that makes him worth a top 20 pick, in my opinion. So I love T'Vondre Sweat. I think it's honestly good value getting him at 24, and I think it's a great pick.
Okay, here at pick 25, Chiefs. Every single time in this mock draft, it will be a wide receiver. From now until April.
It will not change.
It will not change. The player might, and I'm going to get you guys a hardworking, first guy in, last one out type of receiver.
Would you let him date your daughter?
I'd let him date my daughter. He's surprisingly kind of like Cooper DeJean, like really, really athletic. Like this clip of Dion saying, I didn't know they could run that fast. Why, Dion? You
know why, but I can't say it.
I'm taking Lad McConkey.
Oh, he can run.
I'm taking Lad McConkey out of Georgia. 6 foot, 185. He is elite after the catch. He's super shifty.
Quick in space.
He's really good.
Sounds like
a
white receiver to me.
Let me get the white stereotypes out of the way. He's an elite route runner. He has a great route tree. He gets a ton of separation, makes catches through contact.
Can he sit in zone, Joe?
Yeah, he absolutely can sit in zone. You can use him on screens.
Oh, I bet you can.
You can use him on jet sweeps. Like they used him on like a double end around against Florida State, and he scored.
Can he throw touchdowns?
He probably
like Julian
can.
Edelman?
He can make jump ball catches. He is 6 foot. He's not like Edelman height where he's like 5'9". He positions himself really well, and he breaks a ton of tackles. This guy is Superman white receiver. Like, I don't know if you're finding a better one in the. When has there been a really good, like, not last year? This is probably the best.
This is the diversity draft. We have a white corner and a white receiver in the first round.
This is the best white receiver you're going to have in a long time. He's ranked kind of as a mid-second, but I see him as a late first because, listen, I'm not going to lie. After I watched him, I was like, him and Rowe might be a discussion. And then I watched the semi-finally, I'm like, all right.
And you're like, all right, let me chill.
But he's really, really good. He's everything you want in a receiver. So, yeah. I think the Chiefs, you get your guy here because look, you have receiver problems. Rashee Rice is legit good, and he's a big guy who
he could be a one.
He could be a
lower end, but he could be a
he's
one.
He's your X, Lad's your Z.
Yeah.
So you have Rashee we watched didn't get a ton of separation, but at the Senior Bowl last year,
and his film.
Lad will do the opposite. He'll get tons of separation, and he'll sit in zone and make good catches through contact.
All right, 26 Eagles. They might rock it up. They might stay here at the draft in this draft order the way they're playing.
They
right
might
now,
be where the Bucks are, honestly.
Yeah, that's true too. But I'm gonna continue the Georgia legacy here for the Eagles, and I'm gonna take Kamari Lassiter, corner from Georgia. We can have him and Keely Ringo back together. They really need corner. Like, the decline of Slay and Bradbury at the same exact time has been tough to watch, especially if you're an Eagles fan, but just in general. Those guys were playing lights out last year, and this year they're traffic cones. It's been rough, but Kamari Lassiter is a good outside corner. He can play slot too. He's very quick in short area. One thing I noticed is his long speed isn't really what you want. A lot of his reps, like, it starts off great, and then at the end, the receiver kind of gets like 2 steps on him, but he's still like not open, so you can't throw that ball, so like it's fine, but he's kind of has him beat slightly, you know what I mean? So, so gave up separation on fades a few times because of that, like I said. He breaks on the ball well, he plays hip to hip, he's a solid tackler, he looks good in off man. I think that's the best thing you can do with him. Is he can press a little bit, but I think stick him in off man. Maybe start him in the slot to start off, but also one of Slay or Bradbury could be getting cut, so he might be starting outside immediately. I think he can do it. He's CB5 for a reason. How many have we taken? First 2, Nate Wiggins. Okay, so he's CB5 right now. He's a good player. I don't really think he's going to rise past the other guys, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's just a good, solid late first corner, and I think he's going to be a good player, and he's going to be back with all his buddies from the Georgia defense, so I'm sure he's going to have a great time on the Eagles.
Okay, at 27 here, Detroit, hell of a season you guys have going on. I was thinking about taking Keon Coleman to get kind of an alpha wide receiver to match with Amon-Ra, and then I remembered, oh yeah, you guys drafted Jameson Williams in the first round.
Yeah, and he's played pretty well.
He's played pretty well. He's been heating up the last couple of weeks. But I'm going to go with Chop Robinson here on edge. I think that's one of the positions you guys need is a quick edge rusher, which is literally all Chop Robinson is. Picture Josh Uche in 2022, not 2023. He's been fucking god-awful.
I don't really want him back at this point.
At this point, no. When we could have got a third-round pick for him at the deadline, probably should have taken that. But Chop Robinson, the best thing I can say is he is not a run defender. He's kind of just a 2-down guy. He's just a pure...
He might be a 1-down guy in some situations, but yeah, for sure.
He's super explosive. He's a really good athlete. He needs to use his hands more. Sometimes he just doesn't use his hands, and he'll get thrown to the ground. But when I say the first rep I saw of him, I was like, oh, fuck, he's going to be my edge one. Because he was so quick and fast.
He's so fast off the line.
When he gets by the guy, he looks amazing. He struggles to get off blocks. He gets pushed around in run D. And I think it was the Iowa game where I think they really found out, Penn State, they're like, fuck, we cannot play this kid in run D on third down. I would see him rush the passer on second down, and then I'd see him out on third down, be like, all right, he's a 2-down kid.
He was getting owned by the West Virginia O-line too. And like they have like Zach Frazier for them's good. He's getting drafted in like the top 3 rounds. But like I was like, I don't know who anyone else on this line is, and you're getting killed by him.
He has all the tools and he has legit flashes. Good ghost move and has like explosive juice off the edge. Like I said, he's really bad in run D. Legit speed rusher when he uses his hands. He's elite off, like probably one of the best off the line I've seen.
I think he has the best get off in this draft for sure.
But like I said, he's kind of a 2-down guy. So you draft that with caution because it's kind of almost like a nose tackle, which like what's the positional value here? Yeah. But
it's like the Lions have run defenders on the edge, so that's why it's a good pick.
So if I think this is a perfect fit personally, Chop Robinson to the Lions. If he can develop a run D, I think he'll be very good in the NFL. But like I said, just picture Josh Uche. I mean, what did he have? 12.5 sacks last year. Yeah. So if you get 12.5 sacks, but shit run D, but you don't really need his shit run D. Yeah. You can just sub him out. You're gonna be happy with your first round pick. Chop Robinson. By the way, guy, first name flashy as fuck. Drip, non-existent. Non-existent.
Nothing, dude. No gloves, no sleeves. No, he just puts on the jersey and the pads and go. I'm gonna go out and play football.
Yeah, no. You think of the name Chop Robinson, you're like, oh, that guy got drip. No,
dude. I was expecting like a dark visor and like tons of like arm tape. Yeah. I don't know why, but that's just what I pictured. But, and the guy I saw was like a picture of like a 1940s fullback.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And it's like he doesn't even wear his like pants all the way down too.
No,
he
they're
them
cut
up to,
off.
Like, his thigh too.
It's so funny, dude. He's literally Joe Random on the field. Like it's great.
He's that 60 overall in 2K.
Yeah.
But
with the brown shirt and the pants.
I think this is a great pick for Detroit.
All right, pick 27, Texans on the clock. This is the Browns pick, but the Texans have it from we all know what trade. I'm going to take Jordan Morgan from Arizona. Yeah, not Olu. Got you guys. You thought. But Jordan Morgan's a beast. He's 6'5", 325. The only thing about him is a lot of the report, I don't have like official arm length measurements right now, or at least his didn't. Some other guys I've gotten some. But there's talk of moving him inside to guard. So that's not ideal. But as of right now, I kind of view him as a tackle. I think he could play guard. And Kenyon Green had a bad rookie year, season-ending injury this year. So you might need a guard next year if he doesn't work out. So I think you try him at right tackle this year. And maybe if it doesn't work out there, then you can move him to guard. But like I said, I don't really have the measurements right now. So I'm just going to assume that he is going to play tackle. He's a functional run blocker. He's not great. He's not bad. It kind of just works. But he's good in pass pro. He uses hug tech. He's kind of the anti-Amarius Mims, where he's played a ton of football. He's a 3-year starter. He has like 3,000 snaps or something. His footwork is very solid for the most part because he's played so much football. He kind of clanked his feet together a few times, like they touched, which is never something you want to do as an offensive lineman because that's asking to get long-armed into the ground. But it didn't bite him in those, and he only did it a couple times, so it's probably fine. He lunges sometimes. He's got a good punch. He overextends to the outside a little bit, it's a common issue because most guys are doing speed rushes. But you can be susceptible to some inside counter moves sometimes, so you just got to clean that up. He had 2 very rough anchors. One of them was against Braylon Trice, though, who I think is a monster, so I'm kind of going to give him some slack on that one. He's a zone scheme guy. He was good against stunts. He did miss a couple, but overall it was solid. I really like him out in space as a run blocker. He's kind of similar to Paris Johnson in that way of like he's not a mauler, and I wouldn't ideally want him in a gap scheme. But as far as just turning and sealing in zone, like he's pretty good at that. So I like the idea of that. And if you're a zone run scheme like the Texans, who have a 49ers coaching staff, I think it's a good call, and I think it should work there. And I think he can be a good right tackle for them.
Okay, here at 29 to Miami. The moment you guys have been waiting for. Where the fuck is he?
Here he is.
Here's Olu Fashanu. I'm not going to say anything about him. I'm going to let Martin take a look at it.
Oh, I have to do all of it?
Yeah, you have to do all of it.
So Olu, Penn State, we all kind of know who he is. 6'6", 317. We'll start off with some of the positives here. I do feel like he readjusts his hands well, and he does a good job keeping them inside. He's the most... I think he might be the most frustrating prospect I've ever watched in my... This is year 5 of doing this. Because there's so many plays where he looks unbelievable, and he could be unbelievable, but he is so bad at anchoring and just against power in general, and like he doesn't anchor well. He's so explosive that he kind of does what Jordan Morgan does, but on steroids, of like overextending to the outside. He's so susceptible to inside counter moves. It's not funny as far as that, and JT did that well. He faked outside, and we all know JT's a power rusher. He's not going outside, he's going straight bull rush, but he fakes outside, he hezzies, then he goes straight into Olu's chest. He allows guys to get into his chest way too much. And I'm concerned about him against competition too, like Michigan, Ohio State got killed in those games. Even Illinois, like I was watching Johnny Newton, and I was like, hey, is that Olu on the ground over there? And then I sent the video in the group chat. But I was like, that should not be my hip.
This guy, he might be the funniest football player to watch, because there'll be run plays where he'll just topple over on top of
he
guys.
Just falls.
And you'll see his big black thighs like jiggle, and you'll be like,
he needs
my hip.
He needs life alert.
Yeah,
he's just all on the ground.
The thing, what's funny about him is like he'll like get slightly touched, and he
just fall. No, it'll happen. No, because another thing too is Penn State, like kind of like Houston, they run a lot of RPOs and stuff. So it's like he's not like it's like the redeeming quality of a guys who struggle in pass protection is usually run blocking, but because of the offense that he plays in, I really don't get to see him like do real run block reps, and when he does, he's not very good at that either. So it's just kind of a tough situation of you have limited run blocking snaps, and I don't really see you do it well when it is like a real power play. And it's just his anchor, like the anchor is literally the most important thing for O-line, and he sucks at it. Like when you are bad at the literal most important thing, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
And
slight issue.
Yeah, his feet stop moving. He puts himself in bad positions. There's a couple plays too where his athleticism saves him from it, like just crazy arm length and explosiveness.
Yeah, no, like I'll mention this. From what I watched, I think I watched the Ohio State game first.
I watched that game like 3 times. Dude,
where he got beat power wise, but he's so big that he got pushed back into the QB's lap, but he didn't allow a sack or a pressure. But Jesus Christ, he was fucking close.
No, I know. Because it's like, there's so many, I'm looking at it, and like, I'm not going to play hypotheticals, but there's so many reps that I'm watching, and I'm like, dude, if you were not like a freak athlete, like you would have allowed 3 sacks this game. So it's like, his technique, he's still worth a first round pick, in my opinion, because if you coach him up, this guy could be unbelievable. He also could be Greg Robinson. So it's kind of like a give and take thing. And I don't think he'll be that bad or anything. But especially if at the top of the draft, like Jets, Titans, like these guys, they need guys that can come in and play right now to avoid their QBs dying. Olu's not that guy. He needs to go to some team that can possibly sit him at the start and teach him in the offseason and get some of these technique problems figured out, because he could be in for a very rough rookie year. I think that's likely, just as far as technique.
Also, so he's also not technically sound, and tackle and corner are the two
have rough rookie years.
Yeah.
Usually. That's why when guys like Slater and Wirfs came in and were crazy year 1.
You look
at Andrew Thomas.
Horrible.
So bad year 1. Rough year 2.
Almost to the point where everybody wrote him off.
Year 3. He's unbelievable. And
90 fucking PFF
Olu
grade.
could have that type of progression, but Andrew Thomas was technically sound in college. Olu's not.
Yeah,
I can't do it high pick. He's tackle 7 for me right now.
You look at guys.
I don't think he's going to get any higher than that. If only guys, if I'm being honest, the only thing he's going to do is probably keep dropping. He's not going to get
we
much
know
higher
Martin
than
last year. He'll find, some bumfuck.
I'll
Joey
find
Fisher.
some random guy at the Senior Bowl who I'll think is better than Olu, probably. So,
but like Martin said, if you're a team like Dallas, like Baltimore, San Fran, where you can afford...
The Dolphins kind of need instant right tackle help right now, though. So I don't, this isn't necessarily a great fit. It's just like, hey, he's here, and we kind of have to take a tackle. We can't really take anything else.
Exactly. No, you don't want, like, a Tennessee... Fuck.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
I mean, honestly,
he
Tennessee...
would kill Will. Not that it can get any worse behind that line, but...
You say that. Wait till... No. This is what will happen. Olu will do such a good job of not getting pushed. He'll get pushed back all the way, and then fall on Will Levis' fucking ACL and fucking Tom Brady.
And then Will Levis will need life alert too.
So it can get worse. If Tennessee, which they're in the position to
take
pick Peter Skoronski and Olu
Fashanu,
that would
be so funny.
Tua Martin's probably most outgoing tackle.
Yeah. Well, it's just because I don't say this as like, oh my god, I love going against the boards. It's just I look at the board, I'm like, all right, these are the guys I'm watching. I watch it, and it's like, I don't like it. You guys are coming here for me and Joe's opinion. You're not coming here from some writer from ESPN's. You can go look at his article. You know what I mean?
I'm sure he watched just amount of his film. Is that no, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's probably watched less. He's an internet mock drafter.
It's true, but I'm not gonna just read that guy's opinion. I watch Olu. I don't think he's that good. I see a lot of problems. I'm going to tell you guys that. And we'll see who's right and who's wrong. Only time will tell. But I can't take him high. He's got the tools to be really good. He could be great. Just the floor's too low for me to be comfortable taking him higher than any of the guys I took already. All right, pick 30. We got Dallas on the clock.
He's been hyping this up for the last 3 hours.
Okay, well, it's not my fault it took that long.
No, I'm just saying the hype has been building for this pick.
Yeah, the hype has been building for this pick because if you guys remember, I mean, Leo...
He specifically took Evans to do this pick.
That's true. Because you wouldn't do it. There's no way. So I wanted to include this guy because I think he's a stud.
I don't want to know.
All right, so
the thing is, if this is some bumfuck defensive lineman,
you can't
going in the
wrong.
first round. Not only can I not prove you wrong, I'm gonna have to watch him, and I'm gonna be like, "Fuck, man, I don't see it."
He's not a lineman, so you don't have to worry about that.
Thank God.
Okay.
Not only do I not like watching O-line film, at least let me watch the big schools.
Yeah.
Don't make me
watch
North Dakota
Western
State.
Kentucky, and South Dakota State.
Oh my God.
But so Dallas, the reason I'm doing this is I think Dallas is in a position for a luxury pick, and guys, Tony Pollard.
Oh my fucking God.
Tony Pollard is not it. As far as he's a change of pace back. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we saw it this year.
He's a damn good change of pace back, but that's what he is. Why you?
I already know who you're going with here.
Give me Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. At pick 30.
I'm pretty sure on the mock draft database he's ranked like 210 or something.
He might be ranked 140 on the...
Yeah.
But so 6'2", 245. This guy can run though. He can move. He's big and he's fast. The only reason why he's a first round pick for me right now is because he's a complete running back. He's 3 downs. He's a power back. He has soft hands. He can catch the ball, and he's very good in pass protection. He can do all 3 things. He can be a workhorse back, and you get the 5th-year option with him, which has proven to be really helpful with running backs. That 5th year is clutch, so you don't have to pay him. He's basically A.J. Dillon with better vision and receiving ability. And he's just A.J. Dillon on steroids.
He's A.J. Dillon if A.J. Dillon was good.
Yeah, exactly. But very explosive in short areas. He has the long speed, big physical back. With his contact balance is absolutely elite. He runs through tackles. He always gets extra yards. Good receiver. Like I said, great pass protector. He can cut on a dime. He's got good vision. Stiff arms, awesome. He's a patient runner. There was a couple plays where I was insanely impressed with how patient he was. It was like he sat on that like Le'Veon Bell and then cut and ran him over like Eddie Lacy. Like, it was very impressive stuff there. Those are not comparisons. I was
also,
just
guys,
saying,
come
like,
on. He's a Wisconsin
he's
running back.
yeah, he's gonna be good. He's a Wisconsin running back, gap scheme guy for sure. But yeah, like I said, he can dance around you or run right through you. He can do both, and I think Braylon Allen's a beast. Definitely gonna be my RB1. I don't even need to see anyone else. Although I might randomly really like the UNH running back, just cause. That's how things work.
I don't know.
Dude, I was pissed that I didn't get to... For you, anyone who doesn't know, I am a freshman at UMaine, and I didn't get to see the UNH back play, though, because that was an away game for us, but that would have been sick.
One, I don't know if he's eligible for the draft this year, but the North Carolina running back was fucking disgusting.
He's good.
He's gross.
I was watching...
I don't know. I'm pretty sure his last name's like Hampton. His
Yeah,
name might be
okay.
R.J. Hampton.
That sounds familiar. I
don't know if he's
watching,
first round, or I don't know if he's eligible, but from what I saw, he was fucking good.
Yeah.
And I by the way, I think who did I watch? It was it might have been Chop, honestly, versus Wisconsin. Well, I watched some edge rusher because I was watching.
So the games.
So I watched a little bit of Braden Allen, and I really liked what I saw. I'm not going to tell you everything because I really wasn't watching him, but I was like, hey, guy's doing pretty fucking good.
Dude,
and
he's good.
From what I saw, he was big. He was a big fucking
He's
running
huge,
back.
but he can, like I said, he can move and he can catch. So he's a true workhorse. Probably not going to be Zeke, but you know what I mean? He's going to be good. He's going to be running behind this great O-line. I do think, I want to say this, though. I think Dallas is a phenomenal Olu spot. He's not going to be there in the real draft, but if you get Olu to sit behind Tyron Smith, like if they can bring back Tyron on like a 1 or 2 year, and then just sit Olu behind him, like he would be unbelievable after. He's not going to be there in the real draft at pick 30, though, so it's not realistic, but I think that would be a great pick.
Right. San Fran, 31. I think honestly, guys, you're a complete team. Like,
they're good.
I'm sorry, I'm not a lot of Brock Purdy. Let's take Michael Penix. Brock Purdy's great, and guess what? You're paying him $850,000.
You'd be paying Penix more.
Yes,
like by a lot. Like that's the dumbest argument ever. Yeah.
But I think you guys have a good corner situation this year. But I want to get a real alpha number 1 out there. I'm taking TJ Tampa. Fun fact about this guy: I watched him, and 2 days later I was in the fucking ER. On a fucking little breathing tube.
Thanks, TJ.
Thanks, TJ. He's the last guy I watched before I got vertigo, and I was sick for like a week. Worst thing ever. Constant dizziness. It's not fun. So thanks, asshole. But TJ Tampa, he's 6'2", 201. He's a big corner. He's a big corner. He's good in man coverage. He can tackle really well. He doesn't. Once again, one of the guys I'm like, can you fucking throw it at him, please? He's really good. Doesn't get thrown at. He got beat on a deep ball once. It was the first play I watched. I'm like, he's going to be fucking ass. It was a post, and he really didn't route him up that much. He locked him down, though. Physical hands. He allows coverage, or allows catches in zone coverage, which is a bit concerning. He sags off a lot. Like, I mean a lot. You know, like in high school, when it's, 3rd and 10, play 9 yards back. This fucker plays 12 yards back. I'm not even kidding. He plays 12 yards back on a 3rd and 8. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And, he has the closing speed to get there, but not when you're guarding, like, who would I take? Niners. Not when, like, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Like, those type of guys. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd give DK 12 yards off. That doesn't feel like it. That just feels like a way to get an 8-yard curl and then a stiff arm directly to the face.
Yeah, so, like I'm saying, I need you to fix that. He has good speed, not breakaway, not game-breaking, not like DJ Turner last year where he's running almost 4.2. Fucking got that one right. And he's really physical, which I like to see. Overall, TJ Tampa, though, I think he can be an Alpha 1, but please, for God's sake, don't sag off that much. I mean, it's egregious. It's really funny because I'm pretty sure it was like.
It's just like, hey, do you want the first down? Here you go.
It was a 3rd and 8. He's like, fucking throw it over here. Like,
yeah,
do it.
I dare you.
So
he must be good. I haven't watched TJ Tampa yet, guys, but he must be good closing on the ball. If
he was good closing on the ball. He had good hands, able to break up passes. He was good. He had good hand to ball pass breakup. So. TJ Tampa, I think, is a really good pick for the Niners. Okay, 32 Ravens. Looking like a fucking juggernaut.
Dude, they look great.
I'm going to give you a guy because I don't think you have enough receivers still. Like, OBJ, I think he's really coming on in the last couple weeks. I think he's going to be great in the playoffs. But what is he, 33? 34?
Yeah, I mean,
he's old.
Their receivers are good now, but they're going to need another one.
Rashad Bateman, I think, is a bust. He makes one,
he's still decent, though. Yeah. He's like a fine... If you take your guy here, he's a fine 3.
Yeah, no, but he'll make a catch oh, shit, and then he'll fucking brick one, and you're like...
He's a bust, but he's still, like, a decent NFL player.
Here, I'm taking an AD. I'm taking AD Mitchell out of Texas. 6'4", 196. Gets a ton of separation. Blocks really well. He's ideal X receiver height. He's shifty in the open field. He's a great route runner. Everything looks super smooth. Almost like he's quick, but it almost looks slow. How smooth and kind of nonchalant it is for him. He's good, not great speed. I would put him 4.5 speed. I would maybe like a 4.49, 4.48, but 4.5 is probably where I'd put him at. Just by the eye test. He has a complete route tree. He has great body control. He has great soft hands. His jump ball ability is nuts. You saw it in the Texas-Washington game.
See that.
He was hanging in the air for like a second and a half before. He jumped way too early on that ball, and he still caught it over the guy's head. And honestly, if Ewers put that ball on the line at the end, he probably has 2 touchdowns. I don't think Texas used him as much as they wanted him to. I mean, he was basically like, give me the fucking ball. Do it. Please give me it. And then the next play, they give him it. He scored a touchdown. I really like A.D. Mitchell. He's a great jump ball guy. And I think in this Ravens offense, he'll be your X. He won't be your 1. He'll be your X, though, on the outside. You'll have Zay. You'll still have OBJ, I think,
Bateman
next
could
year.
Be a big slot,
and then Bateman could be a big slot. Oh, and then you have Isaiah Likely. He's basically a big slot, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, A.D. Mitchell is going to wrap up the mock draft here. So, yeah, be prepared for that. Guys, we're back for draft season for now. We'll see you in a couple months for the other mock draft. But
Peace.
Peace.